A busy laundromat can lose its margin before the clothes are dry. Every occupied drum starts an infrastructure bill, and the posted price has to outrun it. A customer sorts a basket, loads a washer, pays with coins or a card, and presses start. Then the customer leaves. For the rest of the cycle, the machine seems to earn money without supervision, salesmanship, or much human attention. But the payment comes only once. Water starts flowing. The sewer charge follows. Energy heats the water and turns the drum. Rent keeps accumulating. Every valve, bearing, belt, pump, door lock, and payment reader moves one cycle closer to repair. The store looks automatic because the customer does the labor. Its economics are anything but automatic. Three variables keep coming back: how many machine hours customers buy, what the utilities cost for each cycle, and how much of the installed equipment is working when demand arrives. An idle washer is costly capacity. A washer showing an error code is unavailable capacity. And a washer running at the wrong price may stay busy while contributing too little. Owning the drums is only the beginning. Hour after hour, the owner must sell reliable access to them at a price that stays ahead of the infrastructure bill. The differences appear once you separate the businesses hiding behind the same row of machines. The simplest is an unattended self-service store. Customers come in, choose a washer, transfer the load to a dryer, fold the clothes, and leave. They may pay with coins, stored value cards, bank cards, or an app, but the basic product remains access to equipment. Low staffing makes this model look wonderfully lean. It also means the owner must handle cleanliness, security, refunds, and machine problems without a permanent employee nearby. An attended store adds customer support, cleaning throughout the day, help with machines, and often wash-dry-fold service. The customer can now leave a bag instead of staying with the laundry. The store earns a larger ticket, but it also takes on payroll, sorting, packaging, quality control, and the chance that one red sock becomes a customer service event. A more complete service model may add pickup, delivery, recurring household orders, or commercial accounts from salons, spas, gyms, vacation rentals, and other businesses. That creates demand beyond the immediate neighborhood. It also turns a fixed storefront into a small logistics operation, complete with routes, drivers, promised turnaround times, and bags that must never be mixed up. The machine mix creates another dividing line. Small washers handle ordinary loads. Large capacity machines attract families carrying several baskets, customers washing bulky items, and people who would otherwise need multiple smaller cycles. The dryers must be able to absorb all the wet laundry those washers release. Too little dryer capacity creates queues after the wash has already been sold. Too much leaves expensive metal waiting for demand. The way you enter the business matters too. You might acquire an operating laundromat, convert an ordinary retail unit, or build a location around the required infrastructure. Those choices are not equivalent. The owner is buying a neighborhood-bound network of machine capacity, utility connections, and customer habits. Reduced to its basics, it is heavy equipment attached to several expensive meters. Those meters are easy to overlook. Suppose you start with a plain retail space. Before the first paid wash, the location may need much more than paint, signs, and a row of appliances. Commercial washers require an adequate water supply. Wastewater needs properly designed drains and sufficient sewer capacity. Dryers need gas or electrical service, ventilation, and exhaust systems capable of moving heat and moisture safely out of the building. Water heating must support simultaneous demand. Electrical panels, accessibility, fire requirements, permits, and local construction rules all determine what can be installed and how soon the doors can open. Then you need the machines, their bases and connections, payment hardware, cameras, carts, folding tables, seating, signage, change equipment where coins remain in use, and enough opening cash to survive the first weak months. A converted space can look inexpensive right up to the moment the floor is opened for drains, and the utility company explains that the existing service was built for a boutique, not a room packed with commercial laundry equipment. Buying an existing store can avoid some of that construction. It cannot remove the risk. The acquisition price may include an established customer base, while the equipment could be nearing replacement age. The lease may have too little time left. Reported revenue may come from a machine mix that no longer suits the neighborhood. Existing plumbing has value only if you can keep using the location long enough to recover what you paid. The lease deserves nearly as much scrutiny as the equipment because this build-out is unusually hard to separate from its site. Base rent is only the first line. Common area charges, insurance obligations, property-related pass-throughs, scheduled increases, repair responsibilities, renewal options, assignment rights, and utility billing can all alter the store's cash burden. A cheap unit with inadequate service can become expensive through construction. A productive store under a short lease can become fragile just as it proves its value. If the landlord controls the renewal after the owner has paid for drains, exhaust, and utility upgrades, the negotiating balance is obvious. Working capital carries the business from opening day to stable demand. Rent, utilities, insurance, cleaning, repairs, debt payments, and payroll do not wait for customer habits to develop. This is the model's first irreversible feature. Machines can sometimes be removed and sold. The plumbing usually stays exactly where it was installed. Consider the transaction the customer sees. Vend prices usually vary by machine capacity, cycle selection, local competition, and payment system. A larger washer can command more for one start because it handles more clothing and saves the customer from dividing a load. But a large machine does not create demand merely by standing there. It earns its floor space only when enough customers need that capacity often enough. Customer traffic is rarely distributed evenly through the week. On evenings and weekends, baskets may come through the door faster than machines become available. On a quiet weekday morning, half the room may sit unused. That imbalance leads to one of the industry's central measurements, turns per day, or the average number of paid cycles a machine completes during a day. It is useful, but the average can still hide the actual constraint. 4 turns spread smoothly across the operating day are not the same as 4 turns concentrated into a period when customers face a wait and leave. Take one cycle in a large washer. The displayed price is gross revenue. It is not owner income. That payment has to cover the water entering the machine and the sewer charge tied to that water. The store must provide energy to heat the water, plus electricity for the motor and controls. A card or app transaction may carry payment costs. Every cycle should also contribute something toward maintenance, because mechanical wear does not issue an invoice after each wash. It builds quietly, then arrives later as a larger bill. The cycle may still leave a healthy amount after those direct costs. That amount is contribution, the money available to carry expenses that remain even when the machine stops. Rent, insurance, internet, cleaning, software, payroll coverage, debt service, accounting, cameras, licenses. This distinction matters because a washer can pay for its immediate utilities while the store itself fails to cover occupancy and financing. Which does more damage, a washer running at a modest contribution or one that never starts? The idle machine produces no contribution, yet it still occupies floor space, ties up invested capital, and relies on infrastructure the owner pays to maintain. Time is perishable in this business. You cannot put an unused machine hour on a shelf and sell it during next Saturday's rush. When that hour passes, the revenue opportunity goes with it. Dryers complicate the picture. Customers usually think about completing one visit, not buying 2 unrelated services. A low wash price can attract demand, but inadequate or unreliable dryers leave the visit feeling unfinished. Oversized dryer capacity, meanwhile, may remain idle when washer throughput cannot feed it. The visible transaction is a sequence. The store earns most effectively when that sequence moves without a bottleneck. So the posted wash price tells you surprisingly little by itself. What remains depends on utilization, machine mix, and the contribution from the customer's full visit. Large capacity washers can lift revenue per square foot, but only when the neighborhood supplies bulky loads and customers accept the price. The right washer-to-dryer balance carries paid demand smoothly through the store. The wrong balance sells the first half of the visit, then creates a queue for the second. Cashless systems can change how the owner manages this capacity. They may support cycle upgrades, loyalty balances, remote refunds, promotional pricing, and clearer data on when each machine is used. The owner can identify an underperforming washer or see whether a quiet period could support a targeted offer. Digital payment does not make revenue free, though. Processing, software, network access, hardware, and service contracts all claim part of the benefit. Better data matters only when someone uses it to improve pricing, uptime, or demand. Follow one customer from arrival to departure. The customer buys a wash, then enough dryer time to finish the load. Perhaps a forgotten box of detergent produces a small vending sale. The wash payment carries water, sewer, energy, payment expense, and wear. The dryer payment carries energy, lint system maintenance, wear, and its share of occupancy. The detergent sale carries product cost, along with some risk that the inventory disappears or sits untouched. What remains from the visit contributes toward the building, labor, debt, and eventual equipment replacement. That complete visit may be worth more than the washer start alone. The more revealing comparison, though, is wash, dry, fold. Instead of selling temporary access to a machine, the store accepts clothing by weight and sells a completed service. An attendant sorts, washes, dries, folds, packages, labels, and stores the order for collection. The same machines may run during hours when self-service demand is weak. Idle capacity becomes productive capacity. The higher selling price looks tempting. But which order is better? A self-service customer who supplies all the labor, or a service customer who pays more? Neither wins automatically. Wash, dry, fold brings attendant time, supplies, packaging, order tracking, rewash risk, customer communication, and responsibility for the finished result. If staff would already be present and the machines would otherwise sit idle, the incremental contribution can be attractive. If service volume arrives unpredictably, an attendant may spend paid hours waiting for bags that never come. Revenue increases, labor productivity may not. Pickup and delivery push the same trade-off further. They expand the service area and make laundry more convenient, but route density now matters. 10 orders on nearby streets are very different from 10 orders scattered across a large city. Driving time, fuel, vehicle expense, missed handoffs, software, and customer acquisition can eat through a premium quickly. Commercial accounts may create recurring volume, but they may also negotiate lower prices and demand consistent turnaround. Lockers extend collection hours while adding equipment and operating procedures. Ancillary services are not hidden profit by default. Their value comes from using capacity the owner has already paid for. When they fill quiet machine hours and keep labor productive, they can make the store stronger. When they require more handling, travel, software, and supervision than their prices support, they only make the revenue line look impressive. More sales, not always more cash. To understand what controls survival, arrange the whole store as a monthly ledger. Separate washer revenue by machine capacity, because small and large machines can have different prices, demand patterns, and utility use. Add dryer revenue, then wash, dry, fold, vending, pickup and delivery, commercial work, and any other supported service. This shows more than the amount of money that arrived. It shows which parts of the installed capacity produced it. Against that revenue are the costs that rise with activity. Water and sewer are the obvious ones. Gas or electricity may heat water and power dryers. Payment expenses follow cashless transactions. Detergent, bags, labels, and other supplies follow service orders. Wash, dry, fold labor rises in steps because the attendant is paid for scheduled time, not for a perfectly measured fraction of each order. Other expenses remain when the room goes quiet. Rent and common area charges, insurance, internet and payment system subscriptions, security, cleaning, licenses, accounting, debt service. Even a minimally staffed store may need coverage during certain hours. An unattended store still needs somebody to clean, collect money where applicable, answer complaints, issue refunds, inspect machines, and respond when a door refuses to unlock. Maintenance has to enter the operating model before something breaks. Belts wear down, bearings grow noisy, Valves stick, pumps fail, door components crack, controls and payment readers stop communicating. Dryer ignition and airflow components need attention. Some repairs involve a cheap part and expensive technician time. Others take a major machine out of service while the owner waits for a diagnosis or delivery. That creates a cost the accounts can easily misrepresent. The repair invoice appears once, but the outage destroys revenue during every hour the machine is unavailable. If a large washer fails on a quiet weekday morning, the lost contribution may be small. If it fails just before a crowded weekend, customers may shift to smaller machines, wait, or leave. The mechanical fault is the same, the economic loss depends on when it happens. Capacity, then, means much more than the number of machines. It includes how many are working, how long their cycles take, the mix of sizes, dryer availability, folding space, parking, carts, customer turnover, and attendant capacity. A store can have empty washers and still feel congested because every folding table is occupied. It may have enough dryers, but lose customers because the parking lot makes a multi-basket visit difficult. It can accept more service orders than the employees can finish accurately. Utility bills also have to be read, not treated as one simple percentage of sales. Charges may contain fixed components as well as measured consumption. Sewer prices may be linked to water use. Gas and electricity structures differ by location and customer class. A weak month, therefore, does not always lower the bill in perfect proportion to the lost cycles. Some costs fall, others do not. The decisive measurement is not revenue per machine by itself. It is contribution per available machine hour after utilities and expected maintenance, viewed alongside the fixed cost that every available hour must carry. Full drums matter, but available drums come first. Apply some ordinary pressure to the model. Start with utilities. Water and sewer rates increase while nearby competitors leave their prices unchanged. The owner can raise vend prices immediately and risk making the difference visible, absorb the increase and accept a lower contribution, or adjust selectively by machine size and cycle option. None of these choices looks dramatic. Every one changes how much of each payment remains. Next, 2 high-capacity washers fail before a peak weekend. Those machines cannot be replaced neatly by every smaller washer in the room. Customers with bulky loads may need several cycles, may face a higher combined price, or may choose another store. The owner pays for the repairs while losing the machine hours that could have helped pay for them. Then the scheduled lease increase takes effect. The building has not improved because the rent changed. No washer turns faster. No new customer walks in. Each sold machine hour simply has to carry a larger fixed amount. Meanwhile, a nearby competitor completes a renovation, installs newer large machines, improves the lighting, and begins drawing away some quiet weekday demand. Any one of these pressures is survivable. Together, they pull the store in 4 directions. Paid turns decline. Direct cost per retained revenue dollar rises. Repair spending increases. Occupancy remains due. The store can still look active on Sunday afternoon because the remaining demand is concentrated into its busiest period. A visitor sees spinning drums. The ledger sees fewer sellable hours over the full week. Reliability reaches into the next month, not only the current one. A customer who repeatedly finds machines out of order, waits for a dryer, or walks into a poorly cleaned store develops another routine. Laundromats are local, habitual businesses. Once a household grows comfortable with a competing location, repairing one valve may not be enough to win that routine back. Deferred maintenance can make the checking account look healthier for a little while. The owner postpones service, resets a recurring fault, and keeps a marginal machine running. Small problems, however, can lead to longer outages, secondary damage, customer refunds, and early replacement. The store preserves cash today by borrowing reliability from tomorrow. An ordinary decision, an expensive pattern. None of this requires a catastrophe. Slightly weaker demand, 2 badly timed failures, higher utilities, and a lease adjustment can consume most of a thin operating cushion. The storefront may stay open, the lights may stay bright, the machines that work may stay busy. Appearance and retained cash have moved apart. A modern branded operator such as Laundromat offers a useful example of an attempt to go beyond the traditional unattended room. Its public proposition emphasizes modern stores, cashless technology, attended service, and wash-dry-fold capabilities. Those features respond to genuine weaknesses in the older model. An attended environment can improve cleanliness and customer support. Digital systems can deliver better usage data and simpler payment. Service laundry can use equipment outside the self-service rush and increase the value of a customer relationship. Every improvement also creates an obligation. Attendants have to be recruited, trained, scheduled, and supervised. Wash-dry-fold requires intake procedures, order identification, quality standards, packaging, and a dependable promise about completion. Technology requires functioning readers, connectivity, software support, and a response when the screen takes a payment but the machine fails to start. Marketing becomes more important when the store sells convenience services instead of waiting for nearby households to notice a sign. When a branded or franchise structure is involved, the current disclosure documents are where required investment, fees, vendor arrangements, and operating obligations should be examined. Promotional revenue examples do not equal owner cash flow. The useful question is how much each added system contributes after payroll, software, marketing, quality control, and every other required charge. The potential benefit is real. A modern attended store may earn a higher total ticket, gather clearer operating data, and find more uses for quiet capacity. So is the potential cost. The operation depends more heavily on people, process, and consistent service. A missed cleaning task affects the self-service customer. A mislabeled bag reaches the service customer more deeply. One delayed route can disrupt several orders at once. That is what happens when the store tries to move beyond pure self-service economics. The storefront can become more productive, but it becomes less passive in the process. The washer can still complete a programmed cycle by itself. The business built around that cycle cannot. What genuinely protects the model as an operator grows? Multiple stores can share capabilities that one location cannot easily justify on its own. A technician or maintenance employee can cover several sites. The operator can keep common spare parts available for components that fail frequently. Marketing, accounting, management, customer support, and service order systems can be spread across a broader revenue base. Remote monitoring can reveal when a machine stops communicating, when usage changes, or when certain hours remain consistently underused. It cannot repair the equipment. What it can do is shorten the time between failure and response, while giving the operator better information about where capacity is actually being sold. Service laundry can also benefit from density. Several pickup customers located near one another can make a route productive. Commercial volume can help schedule both labor and machine use. Some operators may centralize part of the processing when their locations, equipment, transportation, and demand genuinely support it. Centralization still adds handling and coordination. The route and labor numbers must prove the efficiency. The word scale cannot do that. Lease control provides another layer of protection because so much capital is embedded in one address. Renewal options, sufficient remaining term, clearly assigned utility responsibilities, and the ability to transfer the lease can preserve the value of the infrastructure. Owning the real estate changes the exposure again, though it requires a larger capital commitment and is not a universal solution. A planned equipment replacement schedule can reduce emergency downtime. Rather than waiting for several aging machines to fail in the same season, the operator replaces capacity in stages and treats reliability as an investment. Timing still matters. Replace too early, and the store consumes capital that productive machines could have kept earning. Replace too late, and the customer experience turns into a parts inventory. A portfolio can cushion one location's weak month. It cannot rescue a store built in the wrong place, trapped under a poor lease, or filled with equipment the neighborhood seldom uses. Scale may improve uptime, spread certain capabilities, and steer service work into idle machine hours. It protects a sound operating equation. It cannot turn weak utilization into strong economics. Picture the same attended neighborhood laundromat through 2 different years. The floor area does not change. The machine mix stays the same. Base vend prices and the lease structure begin with the same operating model. The difference comes from the 3 levers already established: turns, utility cost per cycle, and uptime, with service labor productivity added wherever wash, dry, fold is offered. During the strong year, average machine use is healthy without becoming so concentrated that customers routinely walk away. Large washers remain available during peak periods, and dryer capacity keeps up. Utility consumption stays near the cost assumed when prices were set. Preventive maintenance catches small faults before they become long outages. Wash, dry, fold orders arrive steadily enough that attendants spend most of their scheduled service time processing paid work instead of waiting. Self-service revenue covers its direct utility and payment costs, leaving a dependable contribution toward occupancy. Dryer revenue follows washer demand. Service laundry adds contribution during quieter periods because the price exceeds the labor, supplies, utilities, and rewash allowance tied to those orders. After rent, payroll, insurance, software, cleaning, debt service, and routine repairs, operating cash remains. Keep the building, machine count, and core location constant, then change a handful of ordinary variables. Weekday turns weaken as the renovated competitor attracts some households. 2 major machines are unavailable through parts of several peak periods. Water and sewer grow more expensive before prices are fully adjusted. The lease reaches its scheduled increase. Wash, dry, fold volume remains, but falls below the level needed to make every attendant hour productive. Revenue does not have to fall dramatically for owner cash flow to fall much further. Utilities still take their share from every completed cycle. Payroll cannot shrink perfectly with service orders because the store must maintain coverage. Rent rises instead of falling. Repair invoices arrive just as broken equipment removes sellable capacity. Payment, software, insurance, and debt obligations continue. That is operating leverage in ordinary language. When a business carries substantial fixed commitments, a modest change in contribution can produce a disproportionate change in the cash left over. Reliable machines help the strong year twice. They earn the paid cycles and avoid emergency spending. Downtime hurts the ordinary year twice. The store pays for the repair and loses the capacity. Wash, dry, fold produces the same double effect through labor. When orders keep an attendant productive, scheduled payroll supports revenue. When volume is weak, the employee may still be needed for coverage, cleaning, intake, and customer support, but fewer service dollars arrive to absorb those hours. The service has not failed, its contribution has changed. That is why 2 stores with similar equipment and similar weekend crowds can deliver different results. One sells enough machine hours through the entire week, controls utility cost per cycle, protects peak uptime, and uses service labor efficiently. The other looks almost as busy when people are watching, yet loses too many quiet hours, too many peak cycles, and too much contribution to fixed obligations. Return to the first customer. A few bills or a card payment starts the washer. The customer walks away, comes back after the cycle, moves the clothes into a dryer, and eventually carries a clean load home. From that side of the transaction, the machine seems to have done nearly everything. For the owner, that machine has sold a slice of time within a much larger system. The slice required working equipment, available capacity, water, drainage, heat, power, ventilation, payment infrastructure, a usable building, and a lease that kept the location operating. Its price had to cover the immediate cycle while contributing toward all the hours when that same equipment stood waiting. Machine hours sold determine how effectively the installed capacity earns. Utility cost per cycle determines how much of each payment survives the physical process. Uptime determines whether capacity is there when customers want it. The lease determines how much fixed occupancy cost those sold hours must carry. Repairs hit the ledger twice, first through parts and labor, then through the cycles the machine can no longer sell. Ancillary services follow the same discipline. Wash, dry, fold, vending, lockers, pickup, delivery, and commercial accounts help only when their added contribution exceeds the labor, software, supplies, handling, and routing they demand. Sales volume alone offers no protection. A full room can hide a weak month, while a carefully managed store may improve without looking much different from the sidewalk. The difference lies in availability, timing, cost per cycle, and the fixed commitments behind the walls. Small variables repeated across thousands of loads. The drums collect the customer's payment. The owner is selling dependable laundry capacity at a controlled infrastructure cost. Water, energy, maintenance, and rent determine the cost of producing that capacity. Utilization and uptime determine how many paid hours are available to carry it. What remains depends not on how much cash the machines collect, but on how efficiently every working hour outruns each meter, repair, and fixed promise attached to the room.